At my sister's wedding, my dad leaned in close and whispered, "Try not to ruin this like you ruined everything else." His breath smelled like whiskey and quiet resentment. I froze with the champagne glass halfway to my lips. The room around me blurred into soft gold lights and distant laughter. But his words stayed sharp, cutting straight through years I thought I had already buried. I didn't respond. I just nodded like I always did when he spoke like that. Because arguing never changed anything. My sister, Emily Carter, stood across the room in her white dress, smiling like nothing in the world had ever touched her. Perfect, untouched, exactly how my father liked his version of family. I was just the background mistake he tolerated. And somehow, even here, even today, he needed to remind me of that. Let me ask you something. If your own father looked at you like you were a permanent regret, would you fight back? Or would you learn to stay quiet? Il chose silence. But that silence had a cost. I took a slow sip of champagne and forced myself to breathe. Not today. I wasn't going to break today. Because this wasn't about me. This was Emily's day. At least, that's what I told myself. The ceremony had already ended. Guests were moving into the reception hall. Music starting softly in the background. I adjusted my suit jacket and moved toward the edge of the room, away from my father. He didn't follow. He never needed to. His voice always stayed with me anyway. Emily spotted me and waved, her smile wide and effortless. "Daniel, come here." I walked over, masking everything behind a calm expression. She hugged me tightly, like she always did. "You okay?" she whispered. I hesitated for a second too long. Then I nodded. Of course. She pulled back and studied my face. Emily had always been the only one who could read me. But today she didn't push. "Just stay close, okay?" she said softly. "I want you near me today." I smiled. Always. And I meant it. Because no matter what my father thought, Emily was the only reason I ever stayed connected to this family. The speeches started soon after. My father went first. Of course he did. He stood confidently, glass in hand, commanding the room like he always had. To my beautiful daughter, Emily, he began, his voice smooth and practiced. A perfect woman who has always made me proud. The crowd murmured in agreement. I felt something twist in my chest. Not jealousy, just familiarity. Because I had heard that tone before, just never directed at me. He continued, praising her, her accomplishments, her kindness, her grace. Everything I apparently lacked. Then he paused, and for a moment, his eyes flickered toward me. Just a second, but it was enough. And to family, he added, lifting his glass. The ones who know how to stand strong, even when others fail. The room clapped. No, one noticed the weight behind that sentence. Except me. I set my glass down, carefully, because my hand had started to shake. The rest of the evening blurred into polite conversations and distant laughter. But something had shifted inside me. Something quiet. Something dangerous. Because for the first time, I wasn't just hurt. I was tired. Tired of carrying a version of myself that was never allowed to change. Tired of being defined by one moment from years ago. You're probably wondering what I ruined. That's the part no one ever asked me about. 5 years ago, I was engaged. Her name was Rachel Monroe. We were supposed to get married in a ceremony just like this. Same kind of venue. Same kind of guests. Same expectations. But a week before the wedding, everything collapsed. Not because I cheated. Not because I left. But because Rachel did. She walked away. No explanation that made sense. Just gone. And somehow, in my father's version of reality, that failure belonged to me. Because I should have seen it coming. Because I wasn't enough to make her stay. Because in his world, outcomes defined worth. And I had failed. So I became the failure. That label stuck. Through every holiday, every family dinner, every quiet comment disguised as concern. Until I stopped correcting it. Until I almost believed it myself. But tonight, something felt different. The turning point came halfway through the reception. The midpoint you never expect. The one that changes everything. Emily pulled me aside near the back terrace. Her expression wasn't calm anymore. It was tense. "Daniel, I need to show you something," she said. She handed me her phone. On the screen was a message thread from her husband, Liam Prescott, the man she had just married 2 hours ago. My chest tightened. Scroll, she said quietly. I did, and what I saw didn't make sense at first. Messages, dozens of them, between Liam and someone saved as R. My stomach dropped. Rachel, my Rachel, the one who left me, the one who disappeared. My hands went cold. Emily, what is this? Her voice cracked. I think you already know. I stared at the screen again. Dates, conversations, plans. This wasn't recent. This had been going on before her wedding, before mine, before everything fell apart. And suddenly, everything my father believed about me shattered, because I hadn't been the one who ruined anything. I had been replaced, quietly, carefully, by someone who was standing in this building right now, wearing a tuxedo, smiling like a good man. I felt something rise inside me. Not anger, clarity. For the first time in years, the story I had been living didn't feel true anymore. Emily's voice shook. I didn't want to believe it. Neither did I said. Silence stretched between us. Then she looked at me, really looked at me. I'm so sorry. I exhaled slowly. This isn't your fault. But it is, she said. I married him. I shook my head. No, you trusted him. That's different. She wiped her eyes quickly. What do we do? That question hung heavy in the air. Because there were only two options. Pretend nothing happened. Or break everything. Again, let me ask you something. If you had the power to expose the truth, but it would destroy someone you love's biggest day, would you do it? I looked back toward the reception hall. Laughter, music, illusion, and in the middle of it, my father, still believing his version of me, still holding on to a lie. I turned back to Emily. We don't ruin this, I said quietly. She blinked. But we don't protect him either. Her expression shifted. Understanding. Strength. We walked back inside together. Not rushed. Not dramatic. Just steady. The next part was quiet. Controlled. We didn't make a scene. We didn't shout. Emily waited until the final dance ended. Then she took the microphone. The room fell silent. I want to thank everyone for being here, she began, her voice calm but firm. Liam smiled beside her, still unaware. I also want to thank my brother, she continued, for being stronger than anyone here realizes. My chest tightened. The room shifted slightly, attention turning. And I want to say something important, she said. Liam's smile faded just a little. Sometimes, the stories we're told about people aren't the truth. Now the room was completely still. Emily looked at Liam, then at me, then back at the crowd. And sometimes the wrong person gets blamed for something they didn't break. No shouting, no chows, just truth. Clear, unavoidable. Liam stepped forward slightly. Emily, what are you? She didn't let him finish. This wedding ends tonight, she said. The silence that followed was heavier than any argument could have been. Gasps. Confusion. My father stood up, anger flashing across his face. What is this? He demanded. Emily didn't look at him. For once, she didn't need his approval. She stepped down from the stage and walked straight past Liam, past the guests, toward the exit. I followed her, without hesitation, because for the first time in years, I wasn't the one ruining anything. I was just walking away from it. Outside, the night air felt colder, but clearer. Emily stopped and looked at me. We're going to be okay, right? I nodded. Yeah. And this time, I believed it. Behind us, everything was falling apart. But for once, it wasn't because of me. It was because the truth finally showed up, and no one could ignore it anymore. My father came outside a few minutes later. His expression was different now. Not angry, uncertain. He looked at me, really looked at me, for the first time in years. I didn't know, he said quietly. I held his gaze. I know, that was all I said, because I didn't need an apology. I just needed the truth to exist, and now it did. That was enough. Emily took my arm, and we walked away together, not as broken pieces of a family, but as two people who finally understood what really happened. And more importantly, what didn't? What's your personal reflection? If you were in his place, would you have exposed the truth during the wedding, or protected the moment and revealed it quietly afterward?